off with kind of a leading question, let you guys mull it over for a minute, come up with some of your own. So you guys, you know, tackled the kind of slasher genre in Rabies, and now you're doing the revenge genre. And as collaborators, you know, what's your process like? Like, kind of, when you finished Rabies, did you know that you wanted to tackle revenge genre next? Was this like kind of, you know, and then in terms of like writing, what is the process between the two of you? How do you kind of divide up the tasks?
I give him the difficult questions.
Yeah. Right after Rabies, we started doing the festival circuit, and we had a few ideas, but it wasn't until Fantasporto in Portugal, which was our international premiere, we saw a very romantic film called I Saw the Devil, and well, and it just blew our minds. And then we had this idea that just jumped into the top of the pile. We wanted to do a drama about a suspected pedophile and how his life has been shattered. And after seeing I Saw the Devil, we had a couple of more ideas, and we just combined all the ideas together. We wanted to do a film about a vindictive father and a vigilante cop and a suspected pedophile teacher. So we said, why not do all three together? We pitched our producer. We told him we want to do a Dirty Harry kind of a film, wandered by mistake to a Korean revenge thriller written by the brother Grimm. And he said, can we make it PG-13? And we said, no. This is how Big Bad Wolves was conceived. Yeah.
Alright, you guys, yeah, right over here.
I love the ending. When's the sequel?
There's no sequel.
Because it lends itself to it, doesn't it?
Sorry?
It lends itself to a sequel.
What, about the little girl?
Sure.
In the room alone?
Sure.
Yeah, we've heard the
Actually, we had a version written by Double Glickman, who played the grandfather. So we pitched the idea to him, and we gave him the script. He was so psyched about it. And you don't know about Double Glickman, who plays the grandfather. He's Israel's most celebrated comedian. He's our like John Cleese. We had like this group of Monty Python in Israel called Zoze, and he's like the biggest comedian in Israel. So when we gave him the script, it was like, yeah, I love the ending, but you're too nice to the crowd. Let's do a sequel or another 40 minutes in which we see what happens to the little girl. And he had this awful idea about what happens to her later on.
We want
that makes this film look like a Disney film. So, hopefully we'll not make a sequel to this film.
Yeah, all the way in the back.
You guys had a lot of farcical elements, it seemed, in the show to kind of lend itself to more like comedic times. Were there other styles that you were hoping to borrow from, and also what didn't make it the final cut?
We want to make, I don't know how to put the things we were doing, because even when we did Rabies and now Big Bad Wolves, we like to put some humor when you don't supposed to put humor, and sometimes it gets misunderstood because our tone is not nihilistic, because you can see that towards the ending we're getting very serious with the film, and everybody that has to be punished for doing the wrong deeds does get punished. But we'll have to make, we want to make like an absurd revenge film, because anytime you go to see a revenge film, it's like, oh, somebody killed my hamster, I have to kill his hamster. So, and everything's so serious in this kind of film.
That's a great speech, Aaron.
Yeah, that's our next movie. Kill hamster. And we wanted to make like, I remember our first poster for Big Bad Wolves was like this kind of Saul Bass poster, like in It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. And we want to make this kind of film, but in a revenge film, to to have this farce of a revenge film, to see the stupidity and absurd side of violence going completely wrong. So everybody tries to revenge everybody, and at the end of the film, it's the pedophile's revenge, because he comes with his apparando and has the little smile. So we want to make like this very dark comedy. And when we thought about borrowing the tones, I think when the only ones I can think of is the Looney Tunes, the Chuck Jones crazy stuff he did in the, when he did his great stuff, and Coen Brothers, and of course Quentin Tarantino. these guys can combine blood and humor and still have something to say about the world or about very important themes, but still with a wink in the eye. So that's what we're aiming at, and I hope we succeed.
Yeah, one. Where did you put yourselves mentally to create the pedophile's murder process? Because like the whole thing, like a lot of the story revolved around that process. I'm wondering what you did to kind of design that.
Well, it's not based on a true story.
Well, yeah.
We just wanted to take an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of a theme.
Which is very biblical.
Yeah, we thought of something that would be very biblical. Obviously, there are gruesome stuff going on there, but if you're referring, you could see that in the scene where he reads the police report, and he tells it like a fairy tale. We thought that's something that we don't want to show anything done being, we didn't want to show any abuse on kids on frame. So we thought, okay, we'll make you imagine all those horrific stuff by reading it. And I remember talking to Tzachi, the father, about all the things in the script, about what he reads, and he says, okay, but if the character says, let's do it by by the order of stuff, shouldn't they do the same to this guy? Maybe they will have a dildo or something. And he said, Tzachi, we don't want to see that film. That's why we have Almodovar to do those kind of films. And actually we took that into the script, and that's where you can see the scene where they go flipping the coin. Don't you want to, just maybe we'll stuff him first? And he said, why? We said, go by the books. Oh, you want to do other stuff to him? No. So it was very important to us to be methodical, but to the point it wouldn't be horrific or just not the way in storytelling.
I think when you write, and that's what you said, to do it like this. When you write a script which is very gruesome, you have to decide if you're going to show a lot of things or not. And we knew we had girls, young kids in the movie, and we didn't want to show the crowd the most obscene things. And then we saw, I think it was Inglourious Basterds by Quentin Tarantino, and in the first 20 minutes, you have like this guy who talks and talks and talks and talks, and you love the dialogue, you love the monologues, and it gets you to think. And then when you see even a film like Wayne Wang's Smoke, when somebody just talks and talks and talks, and if you have something interesting in the way they tell a story, you will listen to it like a little child who's hearing a fairy tale. So we want to have like this 5 or 6 minutes scene in a movie where you just hear the horrific stuff, and it makes you imagine everything that's going with the girl. And I think it's even darker when you hear the things he did, and we let you think about everything. And as for the decision, I think it was very early that we decided to tell the most obscene fairy tale, so that the audience will shrink of just hearing, the part of the nails and everything. But we knew it has more power when somebody tells you a story, because the voice, I know when I used to teach it at the university, voice and sound in cinema, I think it's even stronger sometimes than just showing the visual. You can do a lot with talking, especially if you have a voice like our Tzachi Grad, the actor. He has like this deep voice. He's like a Darth Vader, Israeli Darth Vader, and when you hear him tell a story, you're just going back and you're like, okay, I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to be afraid. I don't have to see everything. And we want to have like this kind of moment in the movie, because you don't have these kind of moments anymore. You just see whatever he wants you to see. You have the torture porn of the Hostel 2, and they show you everything. But if somebody just tells you that, it lives more to your imagination, and I think you respect more. You respect the audience when you do it like this.
I think we are unfortunately out of time, but thank you all for sticking around.